जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वर्णानामथ संघानां रसानां छन्दसामपि मङ्गलानां च कर्तारं वन्दे वाणी विनायकम्। नीलाम्बुजश्यामलकोमलाङ्गं सीतासमारुपितवामभागं पानौ महासायकचारुचापं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम्। चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्नि निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृता स्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्ण संकीर्तनम्। नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण। यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तद्गुंहदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। बोले सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। आदरणीय वंदनीय पंडित जी, पंडितगण, प्रिय भक्त समुदाय, सज्जनों, महानुभाव, most worshipful Pandits, dear devotees of the Supreme Lord, the Divine Souls. First, let me say Radhe Radhe Sita Ram to everyone, and my pranam, my humblest prostrations to all of you. To our viewers also, Facebook, YouTube, and of course, Bhakti TV. We're coming live through Bhakti TV tonight again. Special thanks to Pandit Satyananda Maharaj, producer of Bhakti TV. To all of you, it's very special Radhe Radhe, Sita Ram also, and my pranam. We continue in the theme of Shri Raam Gita. Yesterday we celebrated Shri Ram Navami, the appearance of the Supreme Lord Bhagwan Shri Ram in this world in the age of Treta Yuga. When Bhagwan descended in the age of Treta Yuga, as Shri Ram, he stayed in the world 11,000 years. During that time, once, only once, he called everyone in Ayodhya and he gave a talk, pravachan, a lecture. And this we call Ram Gita. We've been using this. We have done already 5 sessions of Ram Gita, Shri Ram Gita. Today is the 6th session. And before we do that, as customary, let us chant the divine name of Bhagwan Shri Ram. We seek the blessings of the Supreme Lord Bhagwan Sita Ram. And also to bring our mind at this point here, page in the little booklets, page 3. Try to meditate on Bhagwan. The form of Bhagwan Shri Ram. Bhaju man mere aatho yaar, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Bhaju man mere aatho yaar, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
O bhaju man mere aatho yaar, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Bhaju man
mere aatho yaar, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Bhaju man mere aatho yaar,
Bhaju man mere aatho yaar.
Bhaju man mere aatho yam. Aatho yam means a yam is 3 hours, 8, 24 hours a day. Chant the divine name of the Supreme Lord. Sing His glories. Meditate on Bhagwan. Focus your heart, your mind. Attach your heart to Bhagwan Shri Ram. Bhaju man mere aatho yam.
Bhaju man mere aatho yaar.
O Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Bhaju man mere aatho yaar.
Bhaju man mere aatho yaar.
O Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Bhaju man mere aatho yaar.
Bhaju man mere aatho yaar.
O Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Bhaju man mere aatho yaar. Jai Ram, Shri Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
भजो मन मेरे आयो याम
Tabla is very low.
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
O bhaju man mere आठो याम Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
भजो मन मेरे आयो याम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
भजु मन मेरे आठो याम
भजो मन मेरे आयो याम
O Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram.
जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम
भजु मन मेरे आठो याम
भजो मन मेरे आयो याम
O Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram.
जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम
भजु मन मेरे आठो याम
भजो मन मेरे आयो याम
O Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram.
जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम
भजु मन मेरे आठो याम Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
भजो मन मेरे आयो याम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
O bhaju man mere आठो याम Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
भजो मन मेरे आयो याम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
राजा रामचंद्र की जय. As I mentioned, in the age of Treta Yuga, the Supreme Lord first he descended in the world to grace the worldly souls, to grace us with his divine pastimes. He who is the father of the entire universe became someone's son. जगत पिता है. Devaki is saying to the Lord when he appeared before her, Upasanghara Vishwatma Nado Rupamalaukikam Shankachakagda Padma Shriya Jushtam Chaturbhujam. Bhagavad Mahapuran, 10th canto, 3rd chapter, 30th verse. O Father of the universe, O Supreme Lord, my divine Supreme Father, my Father, in a previous dissension, a previous incarnation of mine, I had asked you, after doing supreme tapasya, the Lord appeared before her in the previous incarnation and said, ask me for a boon. And they said to the Lord, I want a son like you. Bhagavan said, there is none like me, so I will come as your son. So you had given me the boon that you will come as my son and you have come as my father. Bhagavan appeared. Tamadbhutam bhalakamam bhujekshanam chaturbhujam shankagadaayudayudham Srivatsalakshmam galashobhikaustubham Pitambaram sadhapayodasaubhagam. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, 10th Canto, 3rd chapter, 9th verse. A 16-year-old boy, 4 arms upholding weapons, Shankh, Chakra, Gada, Padma. Beautiful yellow silken clothes wearing, beautiful ornaments decorating his body, beautiful crown, a garland of wild flowers around his neck, mark of Shri Vats Mahalakshmi on the chest, etc. He also appeared before Kaushalya. Bhay pragat kripala, dina dayala, Kaushalya hitkari. Harshit mahatari, muni manahari, adbhut rupa vichari. लोचन अभिरामम तन घन श्यामम निज आयुध भुजचारी भूषण बनमाला नयन विशाला शोभा सिंधु खरारी. Exact same thing as in the Bhagavad. He appeared just as he appeared before Devaki, he appeared the same way before Kaushalya, Mother Kaushalya. And he stayed 11,000 years. After returning to Ayodhya, he had been banished for 14 years. Having returned to Ayodhya and been placed on the throne once more, or for the first time. This was been planned before, but he had to leave on the request of Kaikeyi. Been coronated, once he called everyone in Ayodhya and he gave a lecture to everyone. एक बार रघुनाथ बुलाए गुरु द्विजपुर बासी सब आए गुरु द्विज बैठे गुरु मुनि अरु द्विज सजन बोले वचन भगत भाव भंजन जय राम
श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम.
एक बार रघुनाथ बुलाए गुरु द्विज पुरवासी सब आए बैठे गुरु मुनि आरु द्विज सज्जन बोले वचन भगत भव भंजन. So he called everyone, the gurus, the munis, rishi munis, the brahmins, and all the good people for Ayodhya. Everyone came and sat. And then the Lord spoke such wonderful words that removes the fear. What kind of fear? Bhava bhanjan. The fear of the endless cycle of birth and death, transmigrating in the 8.4 million forms of life, as we have been doing from beginningless time. He spoke such words, telling how to become free from that endless cycle of birth and death. that we never have to come back in the material world and suffer and rotate in 8.4 million forms of life: dog, cat, donkey, worm, tree, grass, hell, heaven. Uncountable times. Oh, we heard some, as I said, 5 sessions already. Today is the 6th session. Just a reminder, Bhagwan tells us, Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Bolo Ram. Bolo Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Bolo Ram.
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
बड़े भाग्य मानुष तनु पावा, सुर दुर्लभ सदग्रंथ निगा. बोलो
Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
ओ साधन धाम मोक्ष कर द्वारा, पाई न जेई परलोक सवार. बोलो
Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
बोले सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. All right, so more people are coming. I request those who can sit in the ground, you all can come up a little bit. And those who can sit can come and sit in the ground. And there are a few chairs in the front also. We don't have anyone standing. Those of us who can sit, and some of us can play some instrument, can help also to come and sit. You all come up a little bit, come up. All the way to where the camera is, you can come. There's some young people who sitting on the chairs. We have really got the chairs for our senior folks who can't sit on the ground. The young ones can sit. बड़े भाग्य मानुष तनु पावा, सुर दुर्लभ सर ग्रंथ निगावा. It is the greatest fortune, Bhagwan Shri Ram, one of the first message he gave. It is the greatest fortune for the soul that acquires birth in the human form. Why the greatest fortune? Because Bhagwan doesn't always give this. It's very rare and difficult to attain. Bhagwan himself is saying to the residents of Ayodhya, Kabahuk kari karuna nar dehi, det ish binu hetu sanehi. Very rare, very seldom does the Supreme Lord, Bhagwan Shri Ram is saying, very rare, very seldom does the Supreme Lord, who loves the individual soul without any self-interest, bestow upon it birth in the human form. Most difficult and rare. The Vedas tell us, Ihache dashakat bodhum prak shariras visasaha tatha sargeshu lokeshu sharira tvaya kalpate kathopanishat. second canto, third chapter, fourth verse. We have been warned in the Vedas, hey human beings, because you can understand, because you have been granted the gift of knowledge by Bhagavan. He's not speaking to dog, cat and donkey, to human beings. Hey Manushya, having acquired this very valuable human birth, which even Devatas are praying and begging for, try to attain your aim of God realization, or else you will have to continuously rotate in the endless cycle of birth and death in the 8.4 million forms of life as ordained by divine law. Not only that, Sargeshu. It takes so long for the soul to get birth in the human form. How long? Sarg. One sarg. The word sarg here is important. It means, one sarg means kalp. How long is one kalp? 12 hours of Brahma, the creator. In our time, 4,294,080,000 years. And Sargeshu, plural, after many kalps, we get a chance to get birth in the human form. This is what it means by Bare Bhagya. People make up all kinds of things. It's so rare and so difficult. Not only that, Sura Durlabh. Sura means Devatas. Who is a Devata? What is a Devata? People who live in heaven, we become Devatas after we perform punyas, spiritual merits, to the performance of yajna, dharma, etc. We acquire something called punya. Which gives us opportunity to go to heaven, become Devatas. People, we worship Devatas. Agni, the god of fire. Vayu, the god of wind. Indra, the king of heaven, the god of rain. Kuber, the god of wealth. Etc. Indraya namaha swaha, Agnaye namaha swaha, Vayave namaha swaha. But those same Devatas, celestial gods, are begging and praying to get this thing we have. Human body. And they can't get it. Durlabha manusham janma prarthyate tirashairapi. Narad Puran. The Devatas, celestial gods, are begging and praying to Shri Krishna. Hey Shri Krishna, please, we are begging you, please give us birth in the human form. We don't want heaven, there's nothing there. Why? So in the next Chaupai, Bhagwan Shri Ram gives the answer. Sadhana dham moksha kar dwara. Because only in this human body we can do sadhana, we can do bhakti. That which will free us from Maya, take us to Bhagavan. No other form, not even Devatas. Only human birth. It is a sadhana dham. Abode, dham means abode. Abode where we can practice spirituality, do bhakti, especially. But Pahi na jahi paraloka savara. We have gotten it. And we make no attempt to do that, to practice devotion, to do bhakti. So Bhagwan Shri Ram says, the residents of Ayodhya, Doha. जो न तरे भव सागर, नर समाज अस पाई हो रामा, नर समाज अस पाई। सोकृत निंदक मंदमती, आत्महन गति जाय हो रामा, आत्महन गति जाय। सियावर रामचंद्र कर जय शरणम, शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम, जय जय सिया राम,
जय जय सिया राम।
जो न तरे भव सागर, नर समाज अस पाई. Having gotten this very valuable human birth, imagine devatas are praying and begging for it. And we don't make an attempt to cross the ocean of Maya. Pai na jai paraloka savara. We don't make an attempt for that. That person, Bhagwan Shri Ram is seen, is extremely stupid, dull-witted, mandamati, and a murderer of his own self. Furthermore, he says, listen. नर तनु पाई विषय मन देहि, नर तनु पाई विषय मन देहि, पलति सुधाते शत विषले। बोलो राम ताही कबाहू भल कहे न कोई, गुण जागै पारस मणि खोई। बोलो राम राम राम,
राजा राम राम राम, बोलो राम राम राम, राजा राम राम राम।
बोले सियावर रामचंद्र की। One person I heard, very good. Everybody should do it. I keep saying Jai Kar, when we do Jai Ghosh, Jai Kar, it has to be at the top of our voice. It's to make Bhagwan happy. So let's see if we can do, like all of us to do like this wonderful devotee. Siyavar Ramchandra ki. Much better. Bhagwan again says, Naratanupai Vishaya Mana Dehi, Palati Sudha Te Shat Vishalehi. Bhagwan seems to be very angry here. Very angry with people who just come thinking that human birth is just to enjoy the senses. Having acquired this very valuable, priceless human birth, Vishayaman, we just enjoy the senses, trying to give sensual happiness to the mind, sensual pleasures. So, Palati Sudha Te Shat Vishale. It's like a person being given Amrit, Sudha. life-giving nectar that will give you eternal life, Sudha, and he throws it away. And that stupid fool, shut. Ooh. This is Bhagwan's words. Shata means stupid, foolish. That stupid, foolish person, he drinks poison. Wish. When we satisfy desires, of the senses, is like drinking poison. Prahalad, little Prahalad, 5 years old, he says to Bhagwan, Nrsimha Bhagwan, Indriyani manaprana atma dharmo dhitir mati Hri Shri Tejas Smitis Satyam Yasya Nashyanti Janmana. Bhagavad Mahapuran, 7th canto, 10th chapter, 8th verse. Prahlad is saying to Nrsimha Bhagwan, the birth of one desire in the mind, a single desire, causes harm to so many things. The energy of the senses, Indriya. The energy of the mind, the mind. The energy of the life force, Pran. And the energy of Atma, the soul. These are the 4 main pillars. Other things get harmed also. Patience, righteousness, reasoning, modesty, self-esteem, and even knowledge of the scriptures. A person said, knowledge? I read Ramayana, Gita, Bhagavad. That's book knowledge. Practical knowledge gets destroyed. The mind becomes Vishayi. There's no interest in God. It's just to show people how much I know. There's no love, no bhakti. Just abhiman, ego. And desires, how many desires we have? 5. 5. Shabd, Sparsh, Roop, Ras, Gandh. Shabd, desire to hear. I always say there are 2 things we can hear. One is Ram Katha and one is Gram Katha. Ram Katha, what we are listening to now. Divine philosophy. The glories of the Lord. This is called Ram Katha. And Gram Katha, worldly thoughts. Love listening to there's a word in Trinidad, Bacchanal. Busur. Hey, I have to tell you something. That lady, she's like this. And that fella, he did that. Rumors. We love listening to and especially dirty things. If we hear about something about somebody did something wrong, very sweet. That is more sweet than Ram Katha. And the moment you start enjoying that, is proof that our heart, our mind is very dirty. The more the scriptures tell us, the more dirty, sinful the heart, the mind is, the more we love listening to dirty things. People's business. Listen to wrong things about who did what and who did this and and politics and you start talking politics, we'll start giving and we also. So Shabd, Sparsh, touch, feel, touching the Murti of Bhagwan, the feet of a lotus feet of a saint, a true devotee of Bhagwan, or as we love in the world. Roop, desire to see, looking at the beautiful divine Murti of Bhagwan, the pictures of a saint, etc. Or looking at the worst things we can think about on the internet, social media, etc. Some people, we spend so much time only there. And we ask, oh yeah, I'm looking at Maharaji. Okay, that's fine. But not only Maharaji is there. Ras, desire to taste. We can taste nice sattvic food offered to Bhagwan, sweet, fresh, or meat, dirty things. The more sinful the mind, the more dirty thing we enjoy. Alcohol, meat. A person who has devotion, bhakti, you don't have to tell him to be a vegetarian. He can't even be around those things. Can't take the smell even. Sometimes people come and say, Swamiji, tell this person to be a vegetarian, stop drinking alcohol. All I say, do bhakti. Do bhakti, do some sadhana. That will go by itself. Once you do sadhana properly, the way a saint teaches us, the way Jagat Gurutam Kripalu Mahaprabhu teaches us, you shed tears for Bhagwan, some purity comes in the heart, the mind. You can't drink alcohol, eat meat anymore. If you're in satsang and you're still, then you're not doing anything, it's just a show. You think you can fool everybody, but all you do is fooling your own self. Bhagwan is looking, Guru is looking. Gandh, desire to smell. So, we have 5 sense organs and desires of the 5 sense organs. We have 5 desires. These desires are very powerful. A person who does not make an attempt to control the senses cannot control desire for carnal desires and falls into the greatest darkness. Kuranga matanga patanga bringa meenahata panchabireva pancha eka pramadhi sakatham nahanyate yasevate panchabireva pancha. Sukti. A moth, there's an insect called a moth, is attracted to the flame, the light. Because of the desire for light, the moth falls into the flame and dies. The bee desire for sweet smell goes into the lotus, it closes and the bee dies. The deer desire for sound causes its death. The fish's desire for taste gets caught on the hook. And the elephant meets his end owing to the desire for the she-elephant. These poor innocent creatures meet their end trying to satisfy the desire related to one sense organ only, one. What then shall be the deplorable state of us human beings who are ravaged and tormented by all the 5 sensual desires? Bhagwan Shri Krishna says to Uddhav in Bhagavad Mahapuran, Beautiful. Jivai kato mapakarshati karhitarsha shishnu nyatasta gudaram shavanam kutashit grano nyatasta paladukvacha karma shaktir bahavya sapatna ivageha patim lunanti. Bhagavad Mahapuran 11 Canto 9th chapter 27 verse. Bhagwan, this is called Udho Gita in Bhagavad. Udho is asking question, Bhagwan Krishna is given answer. Bhagwan says to Udho, he compares the 5 senses that we have to 5 wives of a man. A man has 5 wives. Just as each wife will try her level best to attract and possess the husband to herself, in the same way, each desire tries to capture the heart to itself, thereby leading to that person's complete ruin and degradation. This is why desire is told to be the greatest disease of the mind, of our mind. Somebody can get rid of desire, he had attained everything. Prahlad is saying to Nisim Bhagwan, Vimunchati yada kaman manavo manasistitan tahyeva pundarikaksha bhagavattvaya kalpate. Bhagavad Mahapuran 7 Canto 10th chapter 9th verse. What to say of becoming a saint? Prahlad says, if someone can give up all desires, they will become Bhagavan, God. Bhagavattvaya kalpate. So this, what do we do? Can't go in great detail here. But Jagat Guru Tam Kripalu Mahaprabhu tells us, the 5th original Jagat Guru, he says, just don't try to get rid of desires. Anga, lust, greed, don't try to get rid of these things. Just divert it. In the world, this is very dangerous, very bad, and will make, but that's what keeps us rotating in 8.4 million forms of life. What to do? You see, this is not something desire. Somebody say, get rid of desire. How to get rid? Just take it from here and throw it over there. How? Attachment, desire, all these things we can't get rid of. So, Jagat Guru Tam Kripalu Mahaprabhu tells us, just divert it. Take it from the material area and divert it in the area of Bhagavan, the saint, and it becomes bhakti. Then it's okay. Desire is okay. Yes, desire Bhagavan, desire Bhagavan's love, desire to see Bhagavan's divine form, the love of the saint who is Bhagavan personified. Increase that desire. That's the life of bhakti. Greed is told to be very bad in the world. When it comes in part of bhakti, greed for Bhagavan's love is very good. Anger destroys everything. When anger comes, everything is destroyed. Bhagavan says in Gita, chapter 2, verse 63. In the spiritual part, I can put it there, yeah. Get angry with our mind. Instead of thinking about the saint, about Jagat Guru Kripalu Mahaprabhu, about my Guru, instead of thinking about Radha Rani, Shri Krishna, Sita Ram, I'm only thinking about the world and dirty, sensual things. Get angry with the mind. You stupid mind, you foolish mind. Everything. Attachment is very bad in the material world. Diverted to Bhagwan, will attain Bhagwan. Shri Krishna says to Uddhav, Vishayan dhyatas chittam vishayeshu visajjate Ma manusmarataschitam mayeva praviliyate. Bhagavad Mahapuran, 11 canto, 14th chapter, 27 verse. Bhagavan Krishna says, this is a person, we worldly people in the world, we keep thinking we can, again and again, we can find happiness in some person or something in the world. And we get attached. And we attain that. That's why we keep rotating. In the same way, if we happen to meet a true guru, a true saint, and he's able to convince us that the happiness we're looking for, we'll find only in Shri Krishna. Then we'll start thinking, why do we think again and again about any person or object in the world? Because we think we'll get happiness there. So now if a saint, the true guru, is able to convince us that the happiness we're looking for we'll find only in Shri Krishna, because Shri Krishna is happiness, what will happen? We'll start thinking about, this is the meditation, dhyan, this is the bhakti, sadhana. We'll think again and again about Shri Krishna. We'll get attached to Shri Krishna. We'll fall in love with Shri Krishna. And we'll attain Shri Krishna. Same attachment, but in a different area. Is bhakti. In one area, it makes us rotate in 8.4 million forms of life. It will send us to hell. And in the other area, in the divine area, it will take us to Bhagavan. Don't get red, just change the area. I said, I'm being very brief. Some other time I'd go in more detail. Bhagavan continues.
एहि तन कर फल विषयन भाई स्वर्ग हु स्वर्ग अंत दुखदाई जय राम श्री
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama.
We have heard of a place called heaven. Everybody has heard about this place, Swarg, heaven. And everybody wants to go there. Many of us, most of us like to think that when our near and dear ones have died, they have gone to heaven. People write cards in India and send to the relative when someone has died, हमारा पिता का स्वर्गवास हो गया, हमारी मम्मी मामा हमारी माँ का स्वर्गवास हो गया. In other words, my father has gone to heaven, my mother has gone to heaven. We have no idea what this place called heaven is or what happens there. We think it's a great place. Everybody wants to go. Even people who are supposed to be teaching us. They're sitting on Singhasan and they're telling us, you have to do this if you want to go heaven. You have to do that. And here Bhagwan is warning us, no. Bhagwan Shri Ram is saying, not this body, this human body wasn't given to you to go to heaven. First, he says the human body, which is so valuable. Even Devatas, celestial gods, are begging and praying for it. Wasn't given to enjoy sensual pleasures, as I just mentioned. nor was it given to go to heaven. Why? He says, Swargahu Swalp. Swalp means non-existent. There's no true happiness there in heaven. And the worst part, ant dukkhadai, it ends in suffering. Everybody, people claim they know Ramayana by heart. They call themselves Ramayani. Huh? And yet they do not understand anything. They still want to go to heaven. For them it's just a story they're reading. They don't understand what Ram is saying. Look, understand about this place called heaven. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, the Vedas, the Taittiriya Upanishad, a detailed evaluation is given of the various heavenly regions and the happiness found there. Detail. Saisha nandasya mimansa bhavati yuva syat sadhu yuvadhyayakah ashishto dhadishto balishto tasyam prithvi sarva vitasya purnasyat sa eko manusha ananda te shatam manusha anandah sa eko manush gandharvanam anandah te shatam manush gandharvanam anandah sa eko dev gandharvanam anandah te shatam dev gandharvanam anandah sa ekah pitrinam chiraloka lokanam anandah te shatam pitrinam chiraloka lokanam anandah sa eka ajana janam devanam anandah te shatam ajana janam devanam anandah sa ekah karma devanam devanam anandah te shatam karma devanam devanam anandah sa eko devanam anandah te shatam devanam anandah sa eka indasyanandah te shatam indasyanandah sa eko brihaspate anandah te shatam brihaspate anandah sa ekah prajapate anandah te shatam prajapate anandah sa eko brahman anandah. Taittiriya Upanishad, chapter 2, verse 8. Second Ballika, 8वें अनुवाक. 8 अनुवाक. Very long. What is it saying? Supposing, just to help us understand, there's a young man in the prime of his youth, most strongly built, muscle. We call this thing abs, six pack, most strongly built, most energetic, most learned, most virtuous. In Hindi, when something is extreme, the word van is put. Somebody is very strong, balavan. Somebody is very rich, dhanavan. So all the van you can think about, he has. Now supposing the wealth of the entire universe, all the wealth and luxury, the rule, of the entire universe, filled with all the wealth and luxuries, was given to such a young man. He becomes the king of the entire universe, filled with all the wealth and luxuries, plus all the subjects are favorable to him. They love him. Ooh. Long ago, you used to have kings and queens. Nowadays, very few remain, but they don't have any kind of special power. In ancient time, there used to be kings like Ambarish, Dhruv, Prahlad. Bharat, who ruled the entire universe, one king. And millions of years. Anyhow, so today we mostly have president, prime minister running a country, but not everyone likes them. Anyhow, so this king, such a king, he's one king in the whole universe. And all the special qualities, and everyone loves him. He would be considered to be the happiest person in the world. The happiest man. The Vedas are saying, the happiness of such a king, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of one Manush, Manav Gandharva. This is the lowest heavenly happiness. Gandharva are heavenly beings who can sing, dance, etc., play instrument better than anyone in this world. No one can compete with them. The happiness of one Manav Gandharva, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of one Dev Gandharva, a little bit higher. The happiness of one Dev Gandharva, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of one of the Pitris. There's an abode called Pitri Lok, where the ancestors reside, if they have performed certain kind of action. Not all goes there. It's a heavenly region. The happiness of one of the Pitris, of the abode of the Pitris, the ancestors. The happiness of one of the Pitris, of the abode of the Pitris, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of one born in heaven as a Devata, Ajana Jadev. The happiness of one Ajana Jadev, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of one Karmadev. The happiness of one Karmadev, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of one Devata, celestial God. There's heavenly beings, and then there's Devata. They have special post. Like in the country, you have the prime minister and you have special ministers. So they have special posts. Agni, the god of fire. Vayu, the god of wind. Kuber, the god of wealth. The Devatas. The happiness of one Devata, multiplied hundreds of times, equal to the happiness of Indra, the king of heaven. The happiness of Indra, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of Brihaspati, the guru, the preceptor of the Devatas. The happiness of Brihaspati, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of Prajapati. And the happiness of Prajapati, multiplied hundreds of times, is equal to the happiness of Brahma, the creator. The highest heavenly region. But even in the abode of Brahma, there is no true happiness. Look, logically, most of you went to school, you did maths, right? If you multiply any number multiplied by 0, what do you get? Whether it's 100, 1,000, 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000,000, and you multiply by 0, what do you get? Nobody is saying. 0. No matter how many times you multiply. So there is no happiness in this material world. You could be billionaire, trillionaire, you can have all, you can be the king of a whole country. Still, there's no happiness. 0. The happiness, and that multiplied by hundreds of times, the happiness of one Manav Gandharva, when you keep multiplying by 1,000, by million, by trillion, 0 by 0, and you keep going, it will still be 0, no matter how many times you multiply. That's why there's no true happiness in heaven. It's only the happiness of this material world multiplied a number of times. In the Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita, A Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravarti Norjuna Mamupita tu Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. Chapter 8, verse 16, Gita. All these heavenly regions, from the abode of Brahma, the highest, is also called Satyalok. Bhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satya. This is Satyalok, the highest heavenly region, the abode of Brahma, the creator, is destructible. Brahma only lives for 100 celestial years. Right now he's in the 50th year. And then is Mahapralay. So all these abodes are destructible, non-lasting. Shri Krishna says, and only upon attaining me, Shri Krishna, the Supreme Lord, we don't come back here and suffer. The aim is God realization. You are a Hindu, understand the difference between heaven and God realization. What is a Devta and what is a Bhagavan? We don't know anything. And we call ourselves Hindus and Sanatanis. Learn, understand. There's some more about this heaven. We'll do a little chanting, bhajan, and then we will come back. This, the same page I told you before, tree. ज्योतिस ज्योत जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम।
ज्योतिस ज्योत जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम।
ज्योतिस ज्योत जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम।
ज्योतिस ज्योत जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम।
मंगल भवन अमंगल हारी,
मंगल भवन अमंगल हारी।
तब उस दशरथ अजर बिहारी,
तब उस दशरथ अजर बिहारी।
ओ ज्योतिस ज्योत जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम।
ज्योतिस ज्योत जगा दो
राम, अपना दास
बना लो राम।
ओ ज्योतिस ज्योत जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम।
ज्योतिस ज्योत जगा
दो राम, अपना दास
बना लो राम।
जय 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 हनुमान गुसाई,
जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई।
कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई,
कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई।
ओ ज्योतिस ज्योत जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम।
ज्योतिस ज्योत जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम।
तरई न बिनु से मम स्वामी,
तरई न बिनु से मम स्वामी,
ओ तरई न बिनु से मम स्वामी,
तरई न बिनु से मम स्वामी,
राम नमामि नमामि नमामि,
राम नमामि नमामि नमामि,
ओ राम नमामि नमामि नमामि,
राम नमामि नमामि नमामि,
ओ ज्योतिष ज्योति जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम,
ज्योत से ज्योत जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम,
मिलहि न रघुपति बिनु अनुरागा,
मिलहि न रघुपति बिनु अनुरागा,
ओ मिलहि न रघुपति बिनु अनुरागा,
मिलहि न रघुपति बिनु अनुरागा,
किए जोग जप ज्ञान विरागा,
ये जोग जप ज्ञान विरागा,
ओ ज्योति से ज्योति जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम,
ज्योत से ज्योत जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम,
उल्टा नाम जपट जग जाना,
उल्टा नाम जपट जग जाना,
ओ उल्टा नाम जपत जग जाना,
उल्टा नाम जपट जग जाना,
वाल्मीक भय ब्रह्म,
वाल्मीक भय
ब्रह्म समाना, ओ वाल्मीक भय ब्रह्म समाना,
वाल्मीक भय ब्रह्म समाना,
ओ ज्योतिष ज्योति जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम,
ज्योत से ज्योत जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम,
कलियुग केवल हरि, कलियुग केवल नाम आधारा,
कलियुग केवल नाम आधारा,
ओ कलियुग केवल नाम आधारा,
कलियुग केवल नाम आधारा,
सुमिरी सुमिरी नर उतरहु पारा,
सुमिरी सुमिरी नर
उतरहु पारा, ओ सुमिरी सुमिरी नर उतरहु पारा,
सुमिरी सुमिरी नर उतरहु पारा,
ओ ज्योतिष ज्योति जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम,
ज्योत से ज्योत जगा दो राम, अपना दास बना लो राम,
बोल राजा रामचंद्र की जय। The Vedas, the highest authority, highest spiritual authority are the Vedas. Why? The Vedas of words of God Himself. There's no book. The Vedas have always existed. So the Vedas, they tell us how to go to heaven. Look, Sanatan Dharma is like a grocery. You go in a grocery, everybody wants something different. Somebody wants to get juice, somebody wants to get water, somebody wants flour, somebody wants milk, different things. So whatever you want, you can get. Punyena punya lokam nayati, papena papam ubhabhyam eva manushya lokam. The Vedas say if you do good action, dharma, you will go to heaven. You do bad action, pap, sin, you will go to hell. You do a mixture of good and bad action, you will come back in the material world. You do neither good nor bad, you will attain moksha, liberation, and you go beyond the desire for moksha, you can attain bhakti, the highest attainment. Only in the human birth. And the Vedas tell us everything. So it tells us how to go to heaven if that's your desire. The Vedas, they put greed. Greed. Not everybody has interest in God. Not everybody is spiritual. Everybody go in mandir, everybody doing puja. Everybody going to masjid, to the church. But how many people love God? Different reasons. Somebody think if I pray to God, somebody told me if I want to get a good job, do this kind of puja, do this fast so many times. Somebody tells me if I want to get a good husband, do this puja, fast these days. Worldly things. So, the Vedas tell us how to go to heaven if you want to go. But then the same Vedas say, avidyaya mantare vartamana swayam dhira panditam manyamana janghanyamana paryanti mudha andhe naivaniyamana yathandha. Mundak Upanishad, first Mundak, second Kand, 8th mantra. The Vedas are saying, people who read the scriptures and interpret it wrong, they think they're very knowledgeable. These are divine words. To understand what Ved is saying, you have to become Bhagavan. Bhagavad rasik, rasik ki baate, rasik bina ko samujh sakena. Khag jane, khag hi kai bhakha. Whereas Ved, whereas Ramayana, whereas Gita, Bhagavad, these are all divine words. Tulsidas Maharaj says, just as a bird alone can understand the language of another bird, only a saint, one who has attained God, can understand what is written by another saint. The Vedas are saying, Acharyavan Purusho hi Ved. Hey, do not read me by yourself alone, you'll get confused. So how to know? Go to one who has attained God, a saint. Let him tell you what is in Ved. You're going to misinterpret. So people who consider themselves to be very wise, the word Pandit here means wise. There are many different meanings for Pandit. There was a Prime Minister of India, his name was Pandit, and he was an atheist. He didn't believe in God. He used to want, don't take God's name close to me. You'll spoil my politics. And he was Pandit. Because he had worldly knowledge. Some people in music are called Pandit and different. So the word, Sanskrit word pandit means a wise person. So those who consider themselves to be wise, that they are well read, and claim to understand what the scriptures are saying, misinterpret, and saying that the scriptures telling us to go to heaven, etc., they're fools. Mudha. Ved is saying. Mudha. And people who believe in them and go to them is a straight case of blind leading the blind. Andhe nevayin niyamanaya thanda. Andha means blind. Blind leading the blind. Again the Vedas say, Ishta purtam mandamana varishtham nanya chreyo vedayante pramudha nakasya prishtete sukutena bhutemam lokam hintanam vishanti. Mundak Upanishad, first Mundak, second Kand, 10th mantra. Listen carefully. The same Ved tells us how to go to heaven, and the same Vedas is saying, those people who want to go to heaven and do things to go to heaven, they're not only ordinary fools, they're the greatest fools. The word mood in Sanskrit means fool. Murk. And in Sanskrit, when you put the prefix pra before a word, it means the greatest. Pramudha. So somebody who is writing, my mother has gone to heaven, my father has gone to heaven. In other words, my mother was the greatest fool. My father was the greatest fool. Wait a second. We don't understand. Because there is no true happiness. And Bhagwan Shri Ram says in the Ramayana, not only that, it ends in suffering. Anta dukkhadai. After going to heaven, you're going to suffer. What does he mean? So Shri Krishna tells us in Gita, Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punye martyalokam vishanti evam tai dharmanupapanna gatagatam kama kama labhante. Chapter 9, verse 21, Gita. Shri Krishna says, impossible really in Kali Yuga. But if someone can acquire punya, there's something called Varanashram Dharma. What a Brahmin is supposed to do, what a Kshatriya is supposed to do, what a Vaishya is supposed to do, Shudra is supposed to do, what a Brahmachari Brahman is supposed to do, Grihasti Brahman, Vanaprasthi, Sannyasi, etc. Many rules. 80,000 mantras in Vedas. Impossible to do in Kali Yuga. If someone can, there's so much rules and regulations. We acquire something called punya, spiritual merit, you will go to heaven. Shri Krishna is saying. Punya, you've acquired so many punya. You will go to heaven. But having gone to heaven and you start enjoying the pleasures of heaven, something happens there. Shri Krishna says, Kshine punya. That punya, which is almost impossible to do in Kali Yuga, in other ages do, but not in Kali Yuga. It starts destroying. And eventually, it will become zero. And then what will happen? Martyalokam vishanti. Will be kicked out of heaven. Karmas become zero. Get out. And some people will think, okay, I went to heaven, I had a good time. I'll come back in the world and do some more good action and I'll go heaven again. No, karma has become zero. You have nothing remaining to come back in the human birth. The Vedas, that Ved mantra I told you, Mundak Upanishad, first Mundak, second Kand, 10th mantra, it says, Hi nataram vishanti. Will be thrown into lower forms of life. dog, cat, donkey, worm. Tree, grass. One day you're enjoying in heaven as a celestial being, a devata, and next day you're in the body of a worm, the one inside the latrine. If you know what that is. Nobody understands. We read all this. Bhagwan is saying, He's warning us. This human birth is so valuable, it wasn't given to you, and yet you're telling everybody, do this, do that, so you can go to heaven. What are you reading, Bhaiya? What do you understand? Nothing. And when the saint comes and tells us, get rid of him. Give him a bad name, do some propaganda, throw him in jail. This is what happens when saints come in the world. They tell us the truth. We don't like to hear the truth. We already think we know everything. We know some stories, some superstition, things that have been passed down for generations. We follow blindly. Anybody come and tell us and correct us, big problem. We have no proof, nowhere in any scripture that so and so is written. Yet we follow, somebody said it. Somebody did it and we have to do it. Or something bad will happen. Blind. Superstition. That's not what Sanatan Dharma is based upon. One of the greatest Dharma, Sanatan Dharma. And yet we just follow all kind of superstition. Nothing is written anywhere. We just follow blindly. Somebody said this, great somebody, and I have to follow. An example? Some people, because someone died on Diwali day, in that home, they will never celebrate Diwali again. Every day in the year, somebody is going to die, somebody is going to take birth. If you just think about that every day, then you won't do anything any day. Only when it comes to Bhagavan, we make these kinds of rules. Nobody stops going to the rum shop. Nobody stops going and having a good time on the same day somebody died in the anniversary. But when it comes to Bhagavan, no, you can't pray today, you can't do puja, you can't do bhakti. You can't celebrate Janmashtami. Ooh. Is it written anyway, Bhaiya? No, somebody told us and we have to follow. We don't question. Sanatan Dharma is the most logical religion. It has an answer for everything. Other religions are not putting it down, but they can't answer. They say they don't believe in reincarnation. We don't believe in reincarnation. Okay. So God is a loving and just and most just and loving God. Yes, He is. Then how come some people are born without hand, without feet, without an eye, some so sick, some so healthy, some so rich, some so poor? Why all this discrepancy? God is a loving, just and kind. Everybody should be treated the same way. No other religion has an answer. Sanatan Dharma, we have the answer. We did actions in the past life. We believe in reincarnation. We have done actions and that becomes our prarabdha in the next lifetime. We have to enjoy the fruits. Answer is given. We don't say because whatever God does, we don't question. It's God's will. No, we question. Why? If He's a loving and just God, why these things happen? You see, we don't understand the greatness of what we have. That's why we leave and run away all over the place. Because we don't want to hear and understand the greatness of this thing called Sanatan Dharma. Any question can answer, you can find the answer. Logically. It's so logical and scientific. We have to be able, we have to want to dive in. Dive is a deep ocean. Dive in and find the pearls. It'll take some tapasya. Some austerity is tapasya. You have to work for it. No, we don't want to do that. We just want to enjoy the world and have a good time. Nobody wants to do sadhana. Nobody wants to do bhakti. We want to get everything easy. Too hard. And you're never going to get anything. So as Bhagwan Shri Ram says, a person who has gotten this very valuable human birth, imagine devatas, celestial gods are begging and praying for it. And all we do is we give vishay, manadehi. We just look for happiness and sensual pleasures in the world. Then it's like a person being given nectar, life-given nectar, and he throws it away and drinks poison. That stupid, foolish person. Bhagwan is saying, not Swami Maheshvaranand. Bhagwan is saying, you can read for yourself, bhaiya. Nowadays, scripture is in English. Anybody can get a Ramayana and read Uttarkand of Ramayana, where Bhagwan called everyone in Ayodhya and he gave a lecture. None of these chaupai dohas, I made them up. They're all written there. You will know the correct meaning, know the correct depth of the philosophy, but at least you will see exactly what I'm saying. Up to us. There's much more, much more, but I think that's enough for tonight. The rest we'll hear another time. Bole Siyavar Ramchandra ki jai, Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe.